In the heart of the unforgiving frontier, where every drop of water was as precious as life itself, a man faced a choice that would defy the brutal laws of survival. His people had long known conflict with a neighboring clan, fierce enemies bound by old grudges and bloodshed. Yet, when the enemy arrived parched and desperate, he did something no one expected. He offered water. This simple act of mercy, in a land ruled by suspicion and violence, sparked a story that would echo far beyond the dusty plains. The man's decision was not born from weakness or naivety, but from a courage few dared to show. In a world where trust was scarce and enemies were marked by generations of hatred, he extended a hand of compassion. The water he gave was more than a gift. It was a symbol of hope, a quiet rebellion against the cycle of revenge that had consumed so many. It was a choice that risked everything, but held the promise of something greater: peace. What followed was beyond anyone's wildest expectations. The enemy he had helped did not respond with betrayal or violence. Instead, he returned, not alone, but with his own clan, sworn to guard the farm that had shown kindness to a foe. This unexpected alliance challenged the harsh codes of the West and reshaped the destiny of both peoples. It was a powerful reminder that even amidst conflict, humanity could prevail. This is a story about breaking barriers, redefining enemies, and the transformative power of compassion in the wild frontier. It invites us to look deeper into the nature of courage, beyond the battlefield, and into the heart of what it means to truly protect and unite. Stay with me as we unravel this remarkable tale, where water became a bridge and enemies became guardians. Prepare to be captivated by a journey that reveals how a single act of kindness in the Old West sowed the seeds of an alliance strong enough to withstand the fiercest storms. This is a story that will challenge what you believe about loyalty, honor, and the power of mercy in a world ruled by harsh realities. In the vast, arid stretches of the Old West, water was the most precious treasure one could possess. For generations, two clans had clashed over scarce resources, their animosity etched into every dusty trail and cracked earth. The air between them was thick with suspicion and the heavy weight of old wounds, as fierce as the desert sun that beat down relentlessly. It was in this harsh landscape that one man, burdened by the history of conflict yet guided by a daring heart, made a choice that would defy the bitter legacy of hatred. When the enemy came, parched and desperate under the unforgiving sun, the man's people bristled with anger and fear. To offer water to a foe was seen as folly, a betrayal of everything they had fought to protect. Yet, the man saw beyond the veil of enmity. In that moment, he recognized a chance, not for conquest, but for salvation, a chance to break the endless cycle of violence that had consumed so many lives. He extended a hand, a simple gesture that rippled with profound courage and compassion. The water he gave was not just a source of life, but a symbol of hope amid despair. As the enemy drank, the unspoken tension in the air shifted. Wariness mingled with disbelief. This act of mercy challenged the hardened hearts of both clans, forcing them to confront a new reality where kindness could break through even the deepest divides. The man's decision was a beacon in the wilderness, lighting a path that few dared to follow. This moment marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey. The enemy did not retreat with suspicion or strike with revenge. Instead, he returned, armed not with weapons of war, but with his own clan, united by a pledge to protect the farm that had shown them mercy. This unexpected alliance sent shockwave through the frontier, rewriting the rules of survival and loyalty. It was a testament to the transformative power of compassion in a world often ruled by cruelty. As we delve deeper into this story, we uncover how trust was forged in the crucible of hardship, how enemies became allies, and how a single act of generosity blossomed into a legacy of protection and unity. Join me as we explore a tale where water quenched more than thirst. It quenched the fires of hatred and nurtured the seeds of peace in the wildest of lands. The days that followed the offering of water were filled with cautious steps and wary glances. The man and his people watched as the enemy clan returned, their presence both unsettling and hopeful. They came not as invaders, but as guardians, pledging their loyalty to the farm that had spared them. This alliance was fragile, balanced on a knife's edge between centuries of mistrust and the possibility of a new dawn. Every interaction was a test, every shared task a chance to build bridges where walls once stood. The farmstead became a meeting ground where stories and traditions mingled, where the boundaries between friend and foe began to blur. Old grievances simmered beneath the surface, but the daily acts of cooperation and respect softened hardened hearts. The man who had given water watched with quiet pride as his people and their former enemies learned to live side by side, tilling the soil, sharing meals, and guarding their common home against threats from beyond. This growing unity was not without its challenges. Voices from both clans whispered doubts and fears, warning of betrayal and loss. The frontier was a harsh teacher, reminding them that peace was often a fragile illusion. Yet, the man and the enemy leader stood firm in their commitment, understanding that the survival of their people depended on trust more than swords. Their alliance became a powerful symbol, inspiring others to reconsider the nature of loyalty and the possibilities of forgiveness. Together, the combined clans faced new dangers: raiders, harsh winters, and the ever-present threat of scarcity. But united, they were stronger, their bond a shield against the hardships that had once threatened to destroy them. The farm flourished, not only as a source of sustenance, but as a beacon of hope in a land that had known too much despair. Their shared struggles wove a tapestry of resilience, proving that even the deepest wounds could heal with time and courage. As the sun set over the horizon, casting long shadows across the land they now protected together, the man and his once enemies stood side by side, guardians of a new era. Their story was no longer just about survival. It was about the power of mercy to change the course of history. This was a story that would be told for generations, a reminder that even in the harshest wilderness, humanity could prevail. As seasons turned and the harsh sun gave way to biting winds, the bond between the two clans grew stronger, woven through shared hardship and mutual respect. The man who had offered water found himself at the center of a community redefined by trust and cooperation. No longer merely enemies or rivals, the people learned that survival depended not on old grudges, but on unity. The once barren fields began to yield crops, and the farm transformed into a sanctuary where hope took root, nourished by the strength of newfound alliances. But beneath this fragile peace lurked old fears and the scars of generations of conflict. Not everyone embraced the change. Whispers of betrayal and doubt stirred in shadowed corners, threatening to unravel the delicate fabric of trust they had painstakingly woven. The man and the enemy leader faced pressure from within their own ranks to abandon the alliance, but their resolve never wavered. They understood that this was more than a pact. It was a lifeline for their people, a testament to courage that transcended hatred. In the quiet moments between battles with nature and foes alike, the two leaders forged a bond that transcended history and bloodlines. They shared stories of loss and survival, of dreams for their children and fears for the future. Their friendship became a beacon to all, a living proof that enemies could become brothers when guided by empathy and purpose. Together, they laid the foundation for a community that would stand resilient against any storm. As threats from outsiders grew more frequent, the combined clans sharpened their defenses. Every man, woman, and child took part in protecting the land they had fought so hard to claim. The farm was no longer just a place of refuge. It was a fortress of hope, guarded fiercely by those who had once been foes. Their strength was multiplied by trust, each act of protection reinforcing the promise that no one would face the wild alone again. The story of water given and loyalty returned became legend, a powerful narrative passed from one generation to the next. It was a reminder that in the harsh wilderness of the Old West, compassion was the most potent weapon, and that the true measure of a person was found in the courage to forgive and protect. This legacy shaped the destiny of the land and its people, proving that even amid strife, unity could prevail. With every passing year, the community flourished, becoming a beacon in the unforgiving frontier. Children who once heard only stories of war and distrust now grew up with tales of peace and alliance. The farmstead, nurtured by hands once raised against each other, blossomed with life and laughter. Festivals celebrated not just harvests, but the enduring spirit of reconciliation that had saved them all. The man who gave water and the enemy who returned with his clan became legends, not for their battles, but for their bravery to choose mercy. Yet, the challenges of frontier life were relentless. Harsh winters tested their resolve, and rival clans eyed their growing prosperity with envy and suspicion. The community knew that peace was never guaranteed, but had to be fought for each day. Their leaders prepared for every threat with wisdom and vigilance, balancing the hard lessons of the past with hope for the future. In doing so, they ensured that the alliance forged in adversity would endure beyond their lifetimes. Beyond the fields and fences, the story spread, reaching distant settlements and travelers wandering the wilds. It became a symbol of what the West could become, a land where enemies could unite, where survival meant more than strength, and where humanity could triumph over hate. The man and his once enemy led by example, their lives intertwined as proof that courage and compassion could reshape even the wildest landscapes. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of fire and gold, the community gathered in quiet reflection. They honored the water that had been given and the loyalty that had been returned. Their story was a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest victories come not from the battlefield, but from the courage to extend a hand when it is most needed. It was a lesson etched into the very soul of the West. Standing side by side, the man and the leader of his former enemies looked out over the land they had united. Their legacy was more than survival. It was a testament to the enduring power of mercy, the strength of unity, and the hope that even in the harshest places, humanity could find a way to protect and uplift one another. The alliance born from a simple act of giving water matured into a powerful force that reshaped the social fabric of the frontier. No longer divided by old grievances, the clans worked side by side, sharing not just land, but dreams of a better future. The man who had dared to show mercy became a respected leader, not through dominance, but through the quiet strength of empathy and vision. Under his guidance, the farmstead evolved into a thriving community where children played freely and elders shared wisdom, their voices weaving a new history written in trust and hope. Yet, this fragile peace was constantly tested. Outlaws and rival clans eyed their prosperity with greed and disdain, plotting to shatter the unity that had taken years to build. The scars of past conflicts were not easily forgotten, and moments of tension simmered beneath the surface. But the leaders, bound by the oath forged in the thirst of that fateful day, stood unyielding. They knew that their true strength lay not in weapons, but in the unbreakable bonds of loyalty and shared purpose. Each challenge faced only fortified their resolve, turning fear into determination and division into solidarity. In the evenings, by firelight flickering against the endless sky, the man and his former enemy shared stories of survival and loss, finding in each other a kindred spirit shaped by hardship. Their friendship became a living testament to the transformative power of compassion, inspiring those around them to look beyond old hatreds. Together, they taught that leadership was not about commanding fear, but inspiring hope, and that the greatest victories were those won in the hearts of people. The community grew not just in numbers, but in spirit. Traditions once rooted in conflict gave way to celebrations of unity and resilience. Songs told of the day water was given, and the return of an enemy with his clan, a tale that became a beacon for those wandering the harsh landscape, searching for a place to belong. The farm was more than soil and shelter. It was a sanctuary of trust, a living symbol that even in the wildest frontier, humanity could prevail. As the seasons cycled and life continued its relentless march, the legacy of that single act echoed in every handshake, every shared meal, and every protective watch kept beneath the vast sky. It was a story not just of survival, but of the courage to choose mercy over hatred, and the power of that choice to change everything. The years passed, and with them came change, new faces, new challenges, and new hopes. The farmstead that had once stood as a fragile oasis grew into a thriving hub of life and culture, where stories of past struggles became the foundation for a future built on understanding. The man and his once enemy continued to guide their people with wisdom tempered by experience, balancing the harsh realities of the West with the enduring dream of peace. Their leadership was marked by humility and courage, qualities that inspired loyalty far beyond the borders of their land. However, the wild frontier was never truly tamed. Nature's fury struck in harsh winters and parching summers, testing the resilience of the community. Threats from outside, raiders, greedy landowners, and restless wanderers, reminded all that vigilance was eternal. Yet, the bonds forged in that moment of compassion proved stronger than any storm. Together, the people faced adversity with a spirit unbroken, their unity a shield against the chaos that had once threatened to consume them. The story of water given and loyalty returned became a legend carried on the winds, a reminder that even the smallest act of kindness could ripple through time and transform destinies. It was a lesson passed down from parents to children, a guiding light in a world often shrouded in uncertainty. The man and his ally had shown that courage was not only found in battle, but in the choice to protect and uplift one's enemies, turning foes into family. In the quiet moments beneath the star-studded sky, the leaders reflected on their journey, a path marked by sacrifice, trust, and the unyielding belief in the good that could rise from even the harshest circumstances. Their legacy was not just the land they had secured, but the community they had built, a living testament to the enduring power of mercy and unity in a world defined by struggle. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting golden light across the plains, the man and the leader of his former enemies stood side by side, ready to face whatever the future held. Their story was far from over, but their bond remained unshakable, a symbol of hope and protection for all who called the wild frontier home. With the foundation of trust firmly laid, the community began to envision a future once thought impossible on the unforgiving frontier. The man who had offered water and the enemy who returned with his clan now stood as pillars of peace and strength. Their leadership inspired others to lay down old weapons and pick up tools for building, not just homes, but lasting relationships. The farmstead blossomed into a vibrant hub where cultures intertwined, traditions were shared, and the harshness of the wilderness softened by the warmth of unity. Children laughed where silence had once reigned, and the wounds of past conflicts slowly healed beneath the vast sky. However, prosperity invited new challenges. External forces, threatened by the emerging power of this alliance, cast covetous eyes toward the flourishing land. Bandits, rival factions, and those clinging to old rivalries sought to exploit any weakness, aiming to shatter the fragile peace. But the community was ready, strengthened by the trials they had endured together and fortified by a bond stronger than blood. Their vigilance was relentless, their spirit unyielding, proving that true security came not from isolation, but from solidarity. The man and the former enemy, now brothers in purpose, worked tirelessly to nurture this peace. Their days were filled with strategy and diplomacy, their nights with reflection and resolve. They understood that leadership in the West was as much about guiding hearts as it was about defending land. Their shared vision became a beacon for those lost in the chaos of the frontier, a reminder that even the fiercest storms could be weathered when stood against together. Among the people, stories flourished, tales of bravery, forgiveness, and the transformative power of mercy. These narratives became the community's heartbeat, echoing through campfires and gatherings. They celebrated not just survival, but triumph over division, teaching each generation that enemies could become protectors and that compassion could build empires stronger than any fortress. As twilight settled and stars emerged, the man and his ally stood overlooking the land they had saved. Their journey, from suspicion and conflict to trust and alliance, was etched into the earth itself. They knew that the path ahead would hold more trials, but their unity was a promise that no force could break. Together, they had rewritten the story of the West. Years flowed on like the rivers that sustained their land, carrying with them the legacy of a remarkable alliance. The farmstead had grown into a thriving settlement, a testament to the power of forgiveness and protection. The man who had given water and the enemy who had returned with his clan were no longer just leaders. They were legends whose story inspired hope across the frontier. Their lives demonstrated that the fiercest battles were not won by might alone, but by the courage to extend kindness, even to those once considered foes. The community's success was not without sacrifice. Harsh winters tested their resolve, and the ever-present threats from outside forces demanded constant vigilance. Yet, each challenge was met with the strength born from unity and the lessons learned from their shared past. The farm was fortified not only by walls and weapons, but by the unwavering trust among its people. This fortress of hope stood resilient against the harsh realities of the West. The story of water given and protection returned became a guiding light, a symbol of the transformative power of mercy and loyalty. It reminded all who heard it that peace was possible even in the wildest lands, and that enemies could become the strongest allies when hearts were open. This tale was passed down through generations, inspiring new leaders to embrace courage and compassion in equal measure. In the quiet moments beneath the vast western sky, the man and his once enemy reflected on their journey, a testament to the unyielding spirit of humanity. Their legacy was etched not only in the fertile soil, but in the lives of every person who called this place home. They had proven that even the fiercest divisions could be bridged by a single act of kindness, and that true protection came from unity. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting light on the land they had nurtured, the two leaders stood side by side, ready to face the future together. Their story was a living promise that in a world shaped by struggle, courage and compassion could carve a path to lasting peace and prosperity. The story of the man who gave water and the enemy who returned with his clan had become more than just a tale whispered around campfires. It had grown into a living legacy, a blueprint for peace in a land torn by conflict. The once barren farmstead flourished as families settled, children played, and traditions that celebrated unity replaced those rooted in rivalry. The community, forged in the fires of hardship and compassion, stood as a shining example that the most profound change begins with a single courageous act. Yet, beneath the surface of this new era, challenges lingered. The wild frontier was unforgiving, and old wounds took time to heal. Some held on to bitterness, and new threats emerged from those who saw unity as a threat to their power. But the man and the former enemy, now brothers in purpose, continued to lead with wisdom born of experience and a commitment to protecting their shared dream. They understood that peace required constant nurturing and that the strength of their community lay in its unwavering loyalty. In moments of quiet reflection, these leaders recognized that their greatest victory was not the land they had secured, but the hearts they had changed. Their alliance had shattered centuries of hatred, proving that courage and mercy were not weaknesses, but the truest forms of strength. They became symbols of hope, their story inspiring others to seek reconciliation and build bridges where walls once stood. The community's resilience was a testament to the power of unity in the face of adversity. Together, they weathered storms, both literal and figurative, drawing strength from each other and the promise of a better future. Their journey was a living reminder that the bonds forged in kindness could outlast the harshest winters and fiercest battles, shaping the destiny of the West. As twilight embraced the horizon, the man and the leader of his once-enemy clan stood overlooking the land they had united. Their eyes held the quiet confidence of those who had faced darkness and emerged stronger, their legacy etched into the very soil, a beacon for generations to come. The final chapters of this remarkable story are not defined by grand battles or sweeping victories, but by the enduring spirit of a community transformed. The farmstead, once a solitary refuge, had blossomed into a vibrant heart of the frontier, a place where hope, forgiveness, and protection were not just ideals, but lived realities. The man who gave water and the enemy who returned with his clan had crafted a legacy that would echo through time, reminding all that even the fiercest divides could be bridged by the courage to choose compassion. Their lives, intertwined by fate and fortified by trust, became a guiding light for those who followed. They showed that true leadership was born from humility and empathy, that the strength to protect was found not in domination, but in unity. Their story challenged the harsh narratives of the West, replacing them with a vision of what could be achieved when enemies dared to become allies. Generations later, their tale remains a powerful reminder that every act of kindness, no matter how small, carries the potential to change the world. The water given on a desperate day in the wilderness became a symbol of hope, a spark that ignited a movement. It teaches us that protection and mercy are the foundations upon which true peace is built. As the sun sets over the endless plains, casting a golden glow over the land they saved, the man and his allies stand united, guardians of a legacy that transcends time. Their story is a testament to the unyielding power of forgiveness, the strength found in shared purpose, and the enduring spirit of the Old West. In a world too often defined by conflict, their journey shines as a beacon of hope, a reminder that courage to protect, even one's enemies, can rewrite history and build a future worth fighting for. The story we have shared today is a profound reminder that even in the harshest lands, where mistrust and conflict seem inevitable, a single act of kindness can ignite a legacy that reshapes destinies. The man who gave water to his people's enemy chose courage over fear, compassion over revenge, and in doing so, planted the seeds of peace in a place that had known only division. This is not just a story of survival. It is a testament to the transformative power of mercy and the strength found in unity. As you reflect on this journey, consider the power of extending grace to those we might least expect. How often do we allow old grudges to blind us to new possibilities? This tale from the Old West challenges us to look beyond the labels of enemy and ally, teaching that protection and trust can build bridges where walls once stood. It invites us all to ask, what could change if we chose compassion over conflict in our own lives? If this story has touched you, take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice helps build a community where stories of hope, courage, and transformation inspire others to believe in the power of kindness. And if you want to continue exploring incredible tales from history and beyond, make sure to subscribe and join us on this journey, because every story has the power to change a life. Remember, the smallest actions often carry the greatest weight. The water given on a desperate day became a symbol of hope that rippled through generations. Your choice to listen, to share, and to care is part of that same legacy. Together, we can create a world where protection, forgiveness, and unity guide the way forward. Thank you for watching and being part of this story. Stay courageous, stay compassionate, and never underestimate the power you hold to protect and uplift others, even those you might once have called your enemy.